Hey, not really ready for this. I'm still not used to going live on YouTube yet, so I apologize. Yeah. So while everybody jumps in, I'm going to light my candle because I wanted to do that before I got on here, but I forgot till I looked in the background and saw that it wasn't lit. So today we are going to be talking about episode 2 of Claire Crawley's season of The Bachelorette, and let me tell you, we have a lot to discuss today, you guys. We have so much to discuss. I have so many notes that I wrote down of things that I want to talk about. And hello to my joiner. We're talking about The Bachelorette, and this is going to be a juicy one, so I hope you're ready for it. And yeah, I am going to be talking about my opinions on the guys, on Claire, on the season itself, and I don't know any spoilers other than Tayshia is going to be the Bachelorette. So please don't be sharing that in the comments or in the chat. I don't want to ruin it for myself or for anyone else that might be watching. I think it's pretty much public knowledge that Claire is with Dale, but as far as anything past that, I don't know. And I'm really anxious to see. I have my opinions on what I think is going to happen, but I'm not going to really talk too much about that till later in the season. So I have my notebook here. This is my journal. I got this at Target. It's super cute. I love this journal. And I normally just journal about like spiritual things, but lately I have been journaling just about everyday life also. And I put my notes on The Bachelorette in here, so it should be interesting to go back and review down the road and see like what I thought of Claire. Also, my pumpkin is hiding. Much better. Ooh, you still can't really see it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start, but I gotta take this jacket off. Hope you guys don't mind. It's always so hot in my room. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Thank you so much. We're gonna be talking about The Bachelorette. I'm about to jump in, so you're just in time. And, oh, sorry guys. This is the real Elizabeth here. This is not the edited version. One more thing before we start. I'm drinking a pumpkin cream cold brew while we discuss. I would probably be drinking wine if I didn't live at home. My mom doesn't allow alcohol in the house. It's just her rule. But I am drinking cold brew instead. And thank you so much for asking. I'm doing really well. Yeah, I've had a really good day today. Went to church this morning. Jesus is good. I'm excited for what he's doing in my life. So thank you. Thank you for asking. I'm doing very well. And I also want to say that I got these rings from Target. I think they're super cute. I'm sorry, I know I'm just kind of waiting to see if anyone else jumps in, but I think we're just going to go ahead and get started. If anyone else wants to jump in, then, you know, hopefully that will happen, or they'll be watching after I upload it. So, we start the show off with a group date, and I think there was like 8 guys on the group date, and to be honest with you, I don't really know any of the guys' names. I'm just going to be completely upfront about that. I know like some of their names, but then like they'll say something on the screen and I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't even know if I know your name or if I've seen you before. Did they just bring you on this episode? But so I don't know their names. I don't really know who's on the group date other than Dale was on the first group date. So not the second one, but the first one. The first one was not nearly as entertaining as the second one, but I did have a few notes. So it was where they, if you missed the episode, it's where they were doing like the love languages. So they had to do words of affirmation and like tell what they loved about Claire or something like that. And then they did physical touch and they did the gifts. They did quality time at the end at like the cocktail party. And then what's the 5th love language? Gifts, time, acts of service. I'm not really sure what they did for that one. I honestly might have missed that part, but so I'm just gonna say I feel so awkward when I watch Claire and Dale. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but when I watch Claire and Dale and they're together, I'm like, I cringe a little bit. I don't know what it is. I don't get authentic vibes from either of them. I think they're both putting on a bit of a show, whether it's for a camera or for each other or just because that's how they are. I don't know, but I don't find a lot of authenticity in their characters. So it's just very awkward for me to watch them. I definitely think Dale is fake, and I think Claire has fake tendencies. Um, and okay, so when they were doing the physical touch part, that was weird, but whatever. So they're doing like the physical touch where they had to wear a blindfold and like hug and touch each other. I don't know, it was very strange. So Claire says to the guys, "Oh, I know who this is. I know who this is. I can tell by your smell." And I just found that interesting. I'm like, "Oh, I wonder if these guys smell good." Like, I mean, I'm sure they do, but you never know. She says that she knows who most of them are, and she thinks it's funny because of just how they smell. And like, I'm really big on that too. Like, I would probably have known who they were as well, because if you're wearing cologne, I always say like nothing like a guy in a suit who smells good. Like, that's like my mantra. It's in my Bumble profile. Yeah, so I also was wondering if Claire really gets to keep the gifts when they did like the gift giving part. Because I just feel like they all gave her like really special things that were special to them. And I feel like I would be upset. So like, okay, say I go on The Bachelor and I'm told to bring something special to me. And we're using Bunny again. We used Bunny last week too. Say I take Bunny, who I've had Bunny since I was a newborn. And literally just like out of the womb, boom, there's Bunny. I was like a week old. And say I take Bunny with me and I give it to this man. And does he get to keep it or does he have to give it back? Like if we break up? That would upset me. I wouldn't take Bunny, but I'm saying like that's something special to me, that like an example. And I just thought that was kind of stupid, but whatever. So then we move along to Jason's one-on-one, and I have so many thoughts about this one-on-one. It was so weird, you guys. Honestly, I thought personally that Jason's one-on-one was probably one of the weirdest things I've watched on The Bachelor. Or Bachelorette, other than the fact that 30 people are trying to date one person. That's, we all know that's awkward. But, so what happened was she wrote like this 17-page letter to him about, please write a letter to your younger self and to come prepared to discuss heavy topics or something like that. She didn't use those words, but that's what she was saying in her letter. And I was like, okay, this is going to be super weird, but, so I felt like, so they get there, they sit around the fire and they're talking about like their lives, and like she asked Jason to write down on this like this stone what were some negative words that people used about him, and she did the same, and then they read them back and forth to each other. And I felt a bit like I was watching a therapy session or a counseling session, and that is fine. Like, hey, you know what? Go ahead and do that, but on national television, I feel like it's a little bit weird. So then they smashed the stones against, like, the mountains and stuff. Yeah, I think that it's a little early for a conversation like that. I mean, I'm going to get into some more thoughts on that end of it, but yeah, I agree with you. That was, sorry, I was just reading your comment. That's why the long pause was for, but I definitely feel like like they were trying to have like a line of communication, but it was just, I think that it was, gosh, I just go back to that. It's the authenticity thing. Like, I did not find it authentic. Like, maybe for Jason, yeah, I felt like he was totally real. But Claire, she's like, I just wanted to bring you on here because I feel like you're holding on to stuff. Like, okay, you were right about that, but I don't know. I just felt like it was like, just weird. Whatever. So anyway, but yeah, I find Jason very handsome. I wrote that down, obviously. If I think they're handsome, I've got to write it down. I get why she finds it attractive. She made a comment about, oh, it's so attractive to me that Jason can open up and this and that. And like, yeah, I agree, but I don't know. It was just weird. I'm sorry. Jason looks like he smells good. I wrote that down. Oh, and then Claire gets out the freaking dress that she wore with Juan Pablo. Like, that was so strange. And then they burnt the dress. I'm like, am I watching a seance or like what is going on? I mean, that was out there. That was out there. I'm sorry. I don't know though. But then, so then I'm like sitting there like judging these two hardcore, and then I was like, okay, well, like 2 years ago I had a date that was kind of similar, but it was more so like I was going through some stuff. Like, it was like a season change. Like, I was an Irish dancer, and then suddenly I had to quit, and that was like a really hard transition for me. So and then I had like some other personal life stuff, and I was like maybe a little bit just negative and kind of cynical. And somebody pointed that out to me on the first date that we were on. And then we kind of had like a really deep conversation about it, but we didn't smash rocks on the cliffs and burn dresses, and I don't know. It was weird. It was just weird. But I do like Jason. I would probably go on a date with somebody like Jason, and I agree that it is attractive that he can open up, but I also don't feel like I find that a bit of a red flag that he's like, I don't want to be like this. Well, dude, then just stop being like that. Like, just don't be a jerk. Like, it's not hard. My dad went through a lot growing up, and he was like blaming it on his, like, the upbringing that he had with his parents, why he was like a jerk. And it's like, well, my dad probably had a really similar experience to him, which he didn't really talk about it, but I can imagine that it's probably just a similar experience as far as dysfunction. And my dad's he's not a jerk. Like, he doesn't manipulate people. He doesn't just say mean things. He's not irrational or anything. Like, my dad's not perfect, but he also is a good person. Does that make sense? And I find that like weird when people blame their past on why they're still a jerk. Like, sorry, that's just not me. That's just, I mean, everything on TV, you have to take what I say with a grain of salt, because they're trying to portray it that way, the producers. And like, obviously I don't want to be mean about somebody that I don't know, but like, that's just something that I kind of noticed, that I'm like, well, if you don't want to be that, then just stop being that. It's like, if I didn't want to be addicted to caffeine, it would be really hard to give it up, but I would do it if I really, really, truly wanted to get over it. Like, I would do whatever it took to. I do like Jason, but understanding is that if she wants to choose from other guys, that's okay, but it's not done yet. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I think that they're just not, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of those two together. So anyway, we move on to the second date. This is where I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. This is probably going to take me a little while to get through, so let me just get a sip of this. Okay, so the second group date is a dodgeball game, right? Okay, so it's a dodgeball game, and I want to see the live chat. How do you like get on the live chat with this? So I don't understand why I can't see. Okay, there's your comments. Sorry, I don't know how to work the live chat yet. Okay, because I can't like get it to stay up long enough for me to read the whole comment from Edward. Like, I don't know how to do it. I'm sorry, I know I'm probably shaking the camera. I mean, I do like Jason, but my understanding is that if she wants to choose from other guys, then that's okay, but it's not done yet. Too complicated of a relationship is outstanding. Okay, and then I think that at the moment on this part, that was that communication. I think that it's a misunderstanding, of course, which person would choose if I want to be falling in love, but that's true because it's too early. Okay, I'm not really sure what that means. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, on to the second group date. I just wanted to make sure I read that whole comment so I could respond to that. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I think there might have been a typo or two, so I'm not totally sure what you meant, but I think I can pick up most of what you mean. Anyway, so yes, so the first thing I write is Brandon is dreamy. I thought Brandon was so handsome. He is so handsome. I follow him on Instagram now. And he's from Cleveland, so I live in Ohio, so that's not far from me at all. We could totally swing it. His bio does say he lives in New York City, but I love New York City, so that wouldn't be a problem either. I'm just going to say that. Brandon, if you're watching, hit a girl up. Anyway, so the second group date is the dodgeball game, and Claire's like at the last minute, like Chris explains the rules that whoever loses doesn't get to go to the cocktail party at the end. And so Claire is like, oh, hold on, before we start, I want to take it to the next level. And Chris like kind of looks at her and she's like, let's play strip dodgeball. And Chris's face, every time she says something, his face is so funny. You guys have, if you've not noticed it, you have to pay attention to Chris's face and his body language when she says something like that. He looks at her like he just wants to be like, are you blanking nuts? What is wrong with you? Strip dodgeball? That's nuts. It's crazy. So, oh my gosh, it's just so juicy. I loved this end of the date. Not that they had to strip, but just the drama that unfolded with it. Hello to my second viewer. Thank you for joining. I just wanted to say that real quick. I said I feel like there's a reason she wants them to strip. I think there's a couple of reasons. One, I'm not going to say because it's not appropriate. I think you can probably figure it out why she probably wanted them to strip. The second reason, I think she likes shock value. I think she likes to stir the pot a little bit. I think she likes to see how far she can push somebody. And I think it's a little bit manipulative, but we'll get more into that as we discuss. So the date goes on, and each time a team gets totally knocked out, they have to remove an article of clothing. And so finally they get down, like they take off their shorty shorts, and the only thing they have is like their panties. It looked like they were just taped, you know, looked like they were just wearing tape under their shorts. And I was a little grossed out, I'm not going to lie, even though they put the black over it, the black screen over their lower half. But I just thought it was very strange. And then they're like, okay, Claire, you want to go all the way? Let's go all the way with this. And then they just totally took off like the remaining whatever they were wearing. They were completely naked. I was like, okay, you chose to do that, because like 5 of them did it, and then the other like 2, there were 2 that didn't do it, I think. I don't know who the guys were that didn't do it, but I was like, good for you. You know what? Like, I know you probably shouldn't have done it to this point, but like, good for you for not going the distance. Like, that's just ridiculous. And so like I said, they did choose to do that. But I mean, it's still gross, and I think it's still weird that she had them do that, to even to that point, to where they were almost naked. It would be like asking, you know, if the Bachelor, let's say, said, ladies, we're going to do strip. First of all, that would not go well, because all the feminists and all the women, and rightfully so, including myself, would say, what is wrong with you, you pig? And I don't understand why women are allowed to get away with that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not knocking women at all, but like, why is a woman allowed to make a guy strip, but, and nobody says anything, even though it's just as bad if you ask me. But if a guy does it, he's exiled from society. Like, I personally just don't think that. I love seeing The Bachelorette, but every season seems good, but other than that, it's alright. Yeah, I know. It's like, I'm not a fan of Claire. I'm just not. I want to be, like, I tried to go into it with an open mind, but that, especially that, just like, I was like, are you kidding me? So then, okay, so then the blue team, I think it was, lost, and the red team didn't lose any games, so they were still fully clothed, and they got to go to the cocktail party. So as the blue team's walking back, they cut to the rest of the guys that weren't on the group date, and they were like sitting around talking about relationships, and I'm like, that's so weird that the producers make them do that. That's so clearly something the producers make them do, is like, get in a group. Okay, the guys are going to be coming back from their group date, and we want to get your reaction, and we want you guys to all sit down and talk about it like a bunch of chicks. Like, guys don't do that. Guys don't sit in a group and talk about what they want out of a relationship. It just doesn't happen. I'm sorry. the producers just, they need to make it more natural. It has become so forced, especially when I watch like another show like Love Island. Not that it's not contrived, but I think that it's definitely more natural, and they definitely don't have the producers, at least it doesn't seem like they have the producers' hand so heavily involved in how the people on the show act and what they make them do. That's just me. And then, so I also wondered if they filmed the cocktail party on a different night, because it was dark when they finished the game of dodgeball, and then it was like dark again when they went to the cocktail party, and suddenly everybody looked very beautiful and put together, and Claire had this beautiful dress on, and the guys were all clean and showered and everything, and I don't know, I just feel like they probably filmed that on a different day. Yeah, so I don't know. Then the guys walked, like they keep cutting back and forth to each group, so then they cut back to the guys that were not on the group date, and then the blue team walks in and they're totally naked. Yosef gets pissed. He's like, I would have never done that. I'm disappointed in her for making them do that. That's so ridiculous, yada, yada, yada. So I will get more into what I think about that in a little bit. So, so then her and Chasen sit down and have a little chat on the cocktail party, or at the cocktail party after the group date, and I think he's pretty cute. And then we have our very first cocktail party group date crasher. Okay, and it's, what's his name? Blake Moynes. Blake Moynes crashes the cocktail party. And when he interrupted them with, I think it was Jay, he's like, so Blake walks up, Claire and this other guy, who I think his name is Jay, are sitting there, and he's like, hey, Claire, can I steal you for a minute? And Jay's like, didn't you lose? Like, he was like so taken aback, you know? And I don't really blame him. I probably would have been too. And I feel like Claire was turned off a little bit by the whole Blake Moynes thing coming in and, like, you know, trying to steal the show. And she told him, though, and he was probably getting mixed signals from her, that she liked when he broke the rules, because before The Bachelorette got, like, right after it got canceled during quarantine, her mom fell and hit her head or whatever, and he texted her, messaged her on Instagram and was like, hey, you know, I'm so sorry, I know we're not supposed to do this, but I just really feel for you, and I want you to know, like, I'm thinking of you and all of that. And she told him that she really liked that he did that. So then he crashes this said group date, and she's like, oh, well, why are you doing that? Like, she was, like, confused or whatever. I'm like, but you told him you liked that. And he was, like, confused. Like, he didn't get the reaction from her that he thought he was going to get. And he was like, wow, that was not what I was expecting. Easy spoke the truth. He said that he feels like Blake was being a sore loser. I thought it was a little bit cringe that he did that, but I understand why he did it. But then, sorry, my throat's getting dry. I understand why he did what he did, because, you know, he thought that's what Claire wanted, but then when he did it, she's like, wait, I don't like that. That's disrespectful to the other guys. It's like, well, what was it when he messaged you? Because it was for a different reason, because it was about you? Like, I don't know. I just thought it was dumb how she reacted. I understand, though, like, she didn't want to be disrespectful to the guys, but I'm biased. I don't like Claire, so there, I said it. So, then he tries to, like, she's like, okay, I gotta get back to the guys. I don't want to disrespect them. And she's like, can I, you know, give you a hug? And they hug, and he tries to kiss her, and she pushes him away. I'm like, what? Oh my. I couldn't believe that. I was shook. I was like, what is wrong with you, girl? So then, let's see, what else did I write here? Okay, so then her and Brandon sit down and have a chat. And he's like, when I found out you're the Bachelorette, I knew I had to come on here. And she's like, oh, okay, well, like, what made you think that? And he's like, she's like, what do you like about me? And he's like, well, you're very beautiful. And she's like, okay, what else? And he didn't know anything about her or whatever. At least maybe he didn't know what to say. And, I don't know. Me personally, like, I don't think she really gave him a shot, but I do understand, like, why she sent him home. And then, because she was, like, not about that he couldn't name one thing about her, which is totally understandable. I feel like maybe he could have been nervous, but then when I watched, hello to my new joiner, we're talking about The Bachelorette, welcome. And we're talking about when Brandon gets sent home. So then when, like, I feel like maybe he could have been nervous, but I feel like I just can't believe, like, that's how they knew that if she's... What? I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. I'm sorry. Maybe reword it. I'm sorry. I think do you mean that she, like, are you agreeing with what I said? Because I didn't really understand what you meant, but, yeah, I feel like maybe you're agreeing that she sent him mixed signals, Ed. So yeah, anyway. So she sends Brandon home, whatever. I thought it was kind of silly, but then I followed him on Instagram, and I was like, maybe he was just trying to promote his career, you know, because he's, like, a model and everything, so. So then, it cuts back to Yosef, and I personally, like, I feel like a lot of, like, they really kind of made him look like a jerk, but I also think he speaks, like, a lot of truth when it comes to Claire. He says that she had red flags. He would never want to strip on national television when his daughter could potentially see it. And then somebody was like, okay, this is what I want to talk about. So he doesn't want to strip. And he says that to the guys. He's like, I wouldn't have done it. Hell no, I wouldn't have done it. He said, excuse me for swearing, but that's what he said. And they're like, well, dude, you didn't have to, I forget what they said. They were like, you didn't have to play or strip. I don't know. They kind of like were like basically telling him he was wrong for feeling the way he did. And here's what I don't understand. Oh, they said, dude, you could have just like taken off your shirt. He's like, and then he was like, it's not even about that. It's a level of respect, which I completely agree with. Here's what gets me about society. It's okay for you to take your clothes off, but it's not okay if you don't want to do that. But everybody in society wants you to believe that you can do whatever you want. But if you don't want to do what they do, for whatever your reasons are, you are kind of like outcasted. Like they turned on him for not wanting to strip. And it's like, but society wants you to believe you should live your life how you want to. So I want to not strip. I want to not put my body out there in that way. I want to be respected in this light instead of trying to prove myself to you by taking off my clothes. Like, what is wrong with that? I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to do that. And I think that it is silly that they had to. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I just think it's something that bothers me when you don't want to do something that is so sexualized. But everybody wants you to believe that you should be able to do whatever you want. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to make this point, but it's like hard to articulate what I mean, but it's not, I don't know. I just think it's kind of stupid that if you don't want to do that, you're outcasted. But if you do want to do it, it's like, oh, let them do whatever they want. Let them live their lives. Well, why isn't it the same the other way around? It's like I don't know. It's like a two-faced situation. So anyway, the one thing I will say about Claire, she's got great style. Her dresses are always beautiful. I feel like if I was one of the guys, I would be embarrassed. And I feel like that's kind of where Yosef is coming from. He's embarrassed that she does what she does and makes them do what they have to do. And I feel like she insults their manhood a little bit. Yeah, that's just because then the reason why I wrote that, like what prompted me to write that, was they were standing there getting ready to have the cocktail party. She comes in and she talks about like how much she appreciates the guys and blah, 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 bunch of fake comments. And then she's like, okay, let's get this party started. And then I think it was, what's his name? Zach, one of the Zachs tries to pull her first. He's like, I want to pull you first. She's like, no, actually, I want to talk to Blake. And like, I don't know, just the way she said it, she's like, no, actually, I want to talk to Blake Moynes. So Blake Moynes and her go off. And then she's like, I just want you to know that I do appreciate, this is how she talks, that I do appreciate you giving me that coming to crash the party, she's like, I know I told you that I like when you break the rules. I don't need it to be like an everyday thing, but I do like it, which is so passive aggressive. Just say, dude, I appreciate it, but you shouldn't have done that. She should have said it that night, like, you shouldn't be here, like, I appreciate the gesture, but let's chat another time when it's more appropriate. Like, that's not wrong, but the way she said it, she just, I don't know. Then she gives him a rose, like, without, like, before the rose ceremony even happens, she's like, here, I want to give you this, I don't want you to worry anymore tonight. And I just found it, then he's, like, on cloud 9, so he went from feeling like total crap, which if she would have handled the situation different when it happened and said, look, hey, this is awesome. You are wonderful. You have nothing to worry about. I am into you. Let's chat at another time. I don't want to disrespect these guys. And then just send him off. But instead, she's like, basically kind of sits there and talks to him and then embarrasses him when he tries to kiss her. But if she would have just straight away been like, no, this isn't appropriate right now, we'll chat another time, I don't think he would have felt so rejected. And then she hands him this redemption rose. And I think it's a little bit manipulative. She let him go on feeling that way for the whole day, which I'm sure was out of her control, some of it. But like I said, she could handle the situation different. No one's perfect. But I find that she does that. Like, every single time something like that happens, she just doesn't handle it the right way. Like, she just embarrasses the person that tries to, like, make a gesture or whatever. And I just don't like that. I just find that her giving him that rose, like, in that way and pulling him and, like, making a big scene, like, that is just manipulative. Can you tell I don't like her? I don't hate her. I just think that she's not right for the Bachelor, for the Bachelorette. I don't think she's the right person. So Blake walks back in and he has the rose and everyone, like, looks at him like, oh, like, okay. And it's like, okay, so do you want him to come and interrupt the dates or do you not want him to? Because if I was the guy, I'd be like, I still don't know what you want. But instead, she gives him this rose and doesn't really set any kind of boundary. It just is like this I don't know. It's just weird. Like, sorry. I'm not down for it. I'm not here for it. I don't think it's cool. I think she insults them a lot. Whether she means to or not, that's what happens. And I just don't have respect for that. Sorry. Yeah, those guys had to have been pissed that she gave him a rose. Like, I don't know why she had to do that. I don't know why she couldn't have just been like, hey, you know, I just wanted to reiterate that I appreciate what you did. But, you know, I do want to kind of set a boundary here. You know, I don't want you to worry, but I also want to set a boundary. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to give somebody a rose to tell them that. And then just insult the rest of the group. Like, Bachelor, they need to call me. I need to be the Bachelorette. I'm kidding. I feel like, though, I did write that I feel like she carries the weight of things. Because, like, her and Dale were sitting there and she, like, starts to get emotional again. Which is, she gets emotional every other scene on there, but it's fine. I don't know. She's like, I just feel like, you know, she's talking about her parents. Her dad, I think, when he was, you know, passing away. And then she kind of started to get emotional. And I do feel bad for her on that front. Like, I do kind of relate to her on that. I mean, both of my parents are still alive, but I am a bit empathetic for her towards her for that. And yeah, so I think, and this is my opinion, that you have to live life with someone for a while before you really know them. And I don't think that she's really getting to know Dale. I think she is going off of a feeling, which is so wonderful, and it's amazing to feel something for someone. And, like, the whole love at first sight feeling is just wonderful. But in reality, you've got to get to know them. And I just don't see her doing that with him. I feel like she's, like, jumping into it. And I feel like there's other guys that are more suited for her and what she's looking for at this point in her life. And I don't really get that from Dale. I feel like he's just a little bit cocky. And I don't know. I don't like either of them. Like, it's not that I don't like them. I just don't like the things they say and do. who they are as a person. Like, I think Claire's a good person. I think she has a caring heart. How she goes about showing that and handling certain situations, it's just not for me. Like, it's not for me. So then the show ends, and I don't remember if they showed the next week's preview or first, or if they did, sorry if you guys can hear my family, they're a little loud today. I don't know if they showed the preview for next week first, or if they showed this first, but I think it was Easy was like knocking on Bennett's door and like goes in, and he's like, Bennett, I heard you have like a way nicer room than the rest of us. And then, I don't know, I think Bennett is really funny, like how he was doing the room tour and stuff, and just, he was like holding a martini in his hand, and I forget what he called it. He called it, I'm just having my spa water. I think that's what he called it. The way he said it was so funny. I think Bennett is a cutie. I think he's funny. He's got good looks. He's smart. He dresses wonderfully. Has a Rolls Royce. I don't know if it was his, but it doesn't matter. I bet he smells good. Then they next week kind of make it look like two of the guys are sitting there talking about Claire and someone else talking prior to the show. And I was watching Bachelor Fan Take, and he said he thinks that it could be about Dale and Claire, but he's not convinced that they were actually talking before the show. He said there's a lot of reasonable doubt. And if you want to know his thoughts, because he points out a lot of really great things, I will link his channel. He is a great person to watch to learn about how the producers, how to like read what the producers are trying to cover up, and like saying like this is a fake out, or I think this is going to happen because of this preview versus that. Like, he'll compare previews to like figure out what happens and to sleuth it out, and it's like really interesting. So I'll link his channel so that you guys can see that. I personally disagree with Bachelor Fan Take. I do think they were talking prior to the show just based on how they act. I don't think that I think they seem very familiar with one another, or at least more familiar than she is with the other guys, and I think that's why we don't really see a whole lot of like getting to know you, like what do your parents do, what's your background like there's nothing that they don't show that. All they show is like them talking about their feelings for one another, and I don't know, I don't really see any real conversation of getting to know one another. And I think that is it true Chris Harrison is a mechanic in real life? I don't know, Anne Harlow. Why would he? Is that a rumor that somebody said that Chris Harrison is a mechanic? Is he? He's not. Did he used to be? I think if I become a single bachelor, if I like introduced myself as well as meeting new people such as all of the, hold on. I hate that it disappears so fast. If I introduce myself as well as meeting new people such as all of the other ladies, then I would say, okay, feeling nervous, but sometimes getting ready. Yeah. I agree. I think it would be really nerve-wracking to be the Bachelorette, and I do try to cut the person slack that is the lead role. But I'm like, to me, a lot of times the people that are the Bachelor or the Bachelorette don't really stick to their guns, and that's just, like, they think they do, and they act like they try to act like they do, but they don't stick to their guns. And between Peter's season and now Claire's season, I'm just like, you guys have got to pick better leads. The cast is always great. I always like the people they choose. Well, I don't know. Peter's season was, the girls were kind of, and that's probably why he was kind of, because the girls were just not, I don't know. Sometimes I question the producers, like, what they pick. I'm like, there's a lot of wonderful women that you could have picked over some of these people, and same with the guys on Claire's season. But in next week's preview, we do see that this is where Yosef says, I expect more from the oldest Bachelorette. And, yeah, that's an interesting quote. I'm excited to see how that plays out. And I'm hoping that this is the last week that Claire is, I think it's going to be, I think we're going to have this week and then I think next week. So this Tuesday and then the following Tuesday, I think are going to be the last 2 episodes with Claire. And I think that then we're going to have, I think in the 4th episode or possibly the 5th, it's going to be this big reveal, and we're going to have to wait a week to see who gets out of the limo, whether it's Tayshia or someone else, because obviously they bring in another bachelorette. I think we all know that it's Tayshia. It better be Tayshia. I'm not going to be excited if it's someone else. Like, does he work on cars? I heard the cast is the leftovers from the Food Network show Baked Off. What? I loved your idea of the Bachelorette, but I must say that singles date. I don't know what that means. I'm so sorry. I'm trying really hard to understand your messages. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time understanding some of them. But I am very excited for next week, I think, or this coming week now. I love to kind of do a little bit of a live chat on my Snapchat. So if you have Snapchat, you should add me because I share lots of funny thoughts and I use filters. And this week I'll have some roses. So I'll have my own little microphone to use on my Snap stories. So if you want to follow me on Snapchat, it's at Lady, Ladyy, Elizabeth, my first name. So at Lady Elizabeth, but Lady has 2 Y's. I'll put it below so that you can see how I spell it. But yeah, this has been fun. I have nothing else to say about this week other than I just become more and more not a fan of Claire. And I feel bad because I'm not sitting here saying, like I said, that she's a horrible person. I just think that she and I are just so totally opposite of one another. Like, I don't know. I feel like there might be a reason why she's single. You should call it all the single ladies. What, the rose reviews on my Snapchat, you mean? Probably should. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, put your hands up. Oh, I bet I'm going to lose all my subscribers for doing that. So also, Bachelor Fan Take, what I wanted to say is that he is almost at 100K. And he does not show his face on his videos, but he says he's going to do a face reveal when he hits 100,000, and I think right now he's at about 95. So go subscribe to him. Just type in Bachelor Fan Take because I have to get this uploaded, so I'm not sure how fast I'll be able to get that for you guys. But yeah, search for Bachelor Fan Take. Go subscribe. We all want to see his face. I've been watching him since Colton's season, and let's guess who he looks like. Who? The Bachelor Fan Take? I think, well, he's Canadian. I can tell by his accent. I'm hoping that he'll kind of share a little bit about his life. I would love to do a collab with him. I think that'd be so dope to somehow do a collab with, like, my rose reviews and his breakdowns that he does. I have to go, girl. Good to see you. Hey, good to see you, too. Thanks, Ed. I hope you have a great week. And, yeah, just come back next week around 3:15. My guess is Brad Pitt. And yeah, have a great week, Ed. Thank you for coming. Anyway, yeah, Brad Pitt. I don't know about that. I think he's gonna look like a Clark Kent. I'm getting Clark Kent vibes from his voice. I personally think that he's gonna look like Bennett from The Bachelorette. Bye. What else was I gonna say about his channel? Oh, so the reason why because before I found Bachelor Fan Take, I would always stop watching it, like, probably right before Hometowns, because then I started, like, it would always be the people, like, the top 4 people that I really liked, and I didn't want to watch them get their heart broken. But there has been some really good drama in the past couple of seasons, and I somehow found his channel because I think I was trying to figure out what happened between Hannah Brown and Kaylin, which is dumb, but I wanted to know, like, why they didn't like each other, like, what the falling out was. And so I was, like, searching for that, like, what really happened, and that's how I found him. So he was like talking about the two of them and like sleuthing out the Colton season, and then that's why I kept watching The Bachelor, because of Bachelor Fan Take, because he just has like the most interesting perspective. So can't say enough good things about him. He's really funny too, so go find his channel. All right, guys, well, this is going to conclude the second episode of the Rose Reviews live stream season 1. This is like my own little news show. That's dumb. Just ignore me. Okay, thank you for real for watching. Tomorrow there will be an upload on my channel at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. So turn on your notification bells for that. Don't forget to subscribe if this is your first time stumbling upon my channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Adios.